Signature moves are some of the best and most iconic moves in Pokemon. They are typically given special treatment due to their limited distribution to one Pokemon, one evolutionary line, or a legendary group. For these Pokemon, that signature move is usually one of their best options for moves and will typically be a staple for their moveset. However, in this video, I'll be discussing Pokemon that don't tend to use their signature move at all, either because that Pokemon has different options they would rather be using, or because that signature move is just not very good in the first place. For each entry, I will be discussing why each Pokemon doesn't use their signature move and what they would rather use instead. A lot of these signature moves are not bad, just not the best option on the specific Pokemon that learns them, but some of them are just straight up bad. I've decided to exclude any moves that became signature moves due to the other Pokemon that learned the move being taken out of the game, since I don't really feel that these are really in the spirit of what a signature move actually is. I will be considering these Pokemon in the most recent singles and doubles competitive formats that they were made available, as I feel that these Pokemon do not use their signature move in either format. With all that being said, let's look at Pokemon that don't tend to use their signature move. First up, we have Pyukumuku not using Purify. Purify is a poison-type status move that heals the target's status condition and then heals the user by up to half of its max HP. If the target does not have a status condition, this move has no effect at all. There are only two situations I can think of where you would want to heal a target's status condition, and they are both very situational. Some Pokemon benefit from having a status condition due to their ability, with Guts probably being the most common one. Guts increases the user's attack by 50% when the user is inflicted with a non-volatile status condition, so by healing an opponent's status condition, you are removing their attack boost. The only issue with this, though, is that Pokemon with Guts or any other ability that benefits from having a status condition will usually either hold the Flame Orb or Toxic Orb items, which will cause those status conditions again at the end of the turn. The other situation I can think of is when your ally is inflicted with a status condition in a double battle and you want to heal that for them, which is definitely a better use. Even then, you'd much rather have a consistent healing move like Recover, which Pyukumuku also gets, making Purify very situational at best and borderline useless at worst. Next, we have Zygarde not using Land's Wrath or Core Enforcer. Land's Wrath is a 90 base power, 100% accurate, physical attacking ground type move that hits both opponents in a double battle, and Core Enforcer is a 100 base power, 100% accurate, special attacking dragon type move that removes the effect of the target's ability if the target has already moved. Zygarde has 4 signature moves, but really only uses 2 of them. Thousand Arrows and Thousand Waves have the exact same properties of Land's Wrath, except they have additional effects, so there's literally no reason to use Land's Wrath. Thousand Arrows hits a non-grounded Pokemon, and Thousand Waves traps opponents. Land's Wrath is not a bad move at all, especially in doubles since it hits both opponents and doesn't hit your ally, but Thousand Arrows and Thousand Waves are strictly better. For Core Enforcer, it is also not a bad move, but the main reason that Zygarde doesn't use it is because it's a special move, and even though its physical attack isn't that much higher than its special attack, it would still rather function as a physical attacker since it gets Coil and Dragon Dance, setup moves that raise the user's physical attack, and since Thousand Arrows is just so good. Next, we have Dialga not using Roar of Time. Roar of Time is a dragon type reskin of Hyper Beam, a move that is not used that much itself. It is a 150 base power, 90% accurate, special attacking dragon type move that forces the user to recharge on the following turn. Unlike moves with charging turns that can be bypassed with the use of a Power Herb held item, there is no way to bypass a recharge turn, at least not anymore, making you a sitting duck for that turn. Instead of using Roar of Time, Dialga prefers to use Draco Meteor, another special attacking dragon type move with 90% accuracy that has 130 base power instead of 150, but only has the drawback of lowering the user's special attack by 2 stages after use. This is a much more manageable drawback, as a stat drop does not make you a sitting duck and has actually quite a few workarounds, especially in Dialga's case. You could use the White Herb to reset negative stat changes, Haze from an ally in a double battle, critical hit through those special attack drops, which can be set up by holding a scope lens and 1 use of Dragon Cheer in a double battle, or you could just switch out. Next, we have Rillaboom not using Drum Beating. Drum Beating is an 80 base power, 100% accurate, physical attacking grass type move that lowers the target's speed by 1 stage after use. Like the signature moves that Zygarde doesn't use, Rillaboom's signature move Drum Beating is not bad. 80 base power and lowering speed is solid, but since Rillaboom has such a wide move pool, it has other options it would rather use, like Wood Hammer and its pseudo-signature move Grassy Glide. Wood Hammer is a very powerful attack at 120 base power, and Grassy Glide is not very powerful on its own, but considering the fact that it gets priority in grassy terrain, and the fact that Rillaboom is able to set grassy terrain with its ability, Drum Beating isn't exactly its best option. For non-grass moves, U-Turn, Knockoff, and High Horsepower are probably its best and most common options, so it's very rare to actually see it use Drum Beating. Next, we have the Kyurem forms not using Glaciate, Freeze Shock, or Ice Burn. Glaciate, the signature move of base form Kyurem, is nearly the exact same move as Icy Wind, both being 95% accurate, special attacking ice type moves that hit both opponents in doubles and lower the opponent's speed by 1 stage, with Glaciate being 65 base power with 10 PP, and Icy Wind being 55 base power with 15 PP. Icy Wind is definitely a good move, as Ice is very strong offensively, it deals spread damage, and lowers speed, which is great for speed control in doubles, but a slightly stronger version of it as a signature move is kind of underwhelming. Base form Kyurem is definitely more of a singles Pokemon too, where it uses Freeze Dry, Icicle Spear, and Ice Beam before ever using Glaciate. When transforming into Kyurem Black or Kyurem White, Glaciate gets replaced with Freeze Shock and Ice Burn respectively. While these moves are not recharge moves like Dialga's Roar of Time, they are still charge moves, meaning that they take the first turn to charge and will attack on the second turn. They can bypass this charge turn with the use of a Power Herb held item unlike Dialga, but consuming your item for a single move like this is generally not worth it unless that move is offering something special like a stat increase. Meteor Beam, Electro Shot, and Geomancy are examples where using the Power Herb is actually worth it, as Meteor Beam and Electro Shot would raise your special attack first and then deal damage on the same turn, and Geomancy would raise your special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages in 1 turn. Freeze Shock and Ice Burn do no such thing, making them strong but not really worth it. Next, we have Enamorus not using Springtide Storm. Springtide Storm is a 100 base power, 80% accurate, special attacking fairy type move that hits both opponents in doubles and has a 30% chance to lower the target's attack by 1 stage. Enamorus is the 4th force of nature, being the only female, the only one not introduced in Gen 5, and the only one whose signature move does not have perfect accuracy in the rain. To add even more insult, Springtide Storm has 5 fewer PP than the other forces of nature's signature moves. I've talked about this on the channel before, which is that I don't really understand why this was done. I feel like either make them all have perfect accuracy in the rain, make none of them have perfect accuracy in the rain, or do what would make sense from a lore perspective, which is make Bleakwind Storm and Wildbolt Storm have perfect accuracy in the rain, have Sandsear Storm have perfect accuracy during a sandstorm, and have Springtide Storm have perfect accuracy in misty terrain. Anyway, Enamorus typically doesn't use this move because 80% accuracy with no way of increasing that accuracy is not worth 100 base power if you have better options, and it has access to 2 of some of the best fairy attacks in the game, Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam. Moonblast is great for single target damage in singles and doubles, and Dazzling Gleam is great for consistent spread damage in doubles since it has 100% accuracy. Next, we have Zamazenta Crown not using Behemoth Bash. Behemoth Bash is a 100 base power, 100% accurate, physical attacking steel type move that deals double damage if the target is Dynamaxed. In Scarlet and Violet though, where Dynamax is no longer in the game, Behemoth Bash has no secondary effect anymore. It is still not a bad move, as 100 base power with 100% accuracy is very good, and it's probably the most commonly used signature move on this list. The thing is, Zamazenta also gets Heavy Slam, a steel-type attacking move that can have an even higher base power than Behemoth Bash since it varies in base power. Specifically, Heavy Slam takes what percent the target's weight is compared to the user and uses this table to determine its base power. In its crown form, Zamazenta weighs a whopping 1,730.6 pounds, which is the 14th heaviest out of all Pokemon. This means that Zamazenta Crown's Heavy Slam will be 100 base power on all Pokemon Volcanion and lighter, and 120 base power on all Pokemon Iron Crown and lighter. For Pokemon heavier than this, a lot of them are Steel or Rock type, both types that are weak to fighting, Zamazenta's other type, so it will still have super effective coverage. Lastly, we have Colossal not using Tar Shot. Tar Shot is a 100% accurate Rock type status move that lowers the target's speed by 1 stage and doubles the target's effectiveness of Fire type moves. Considering the fact that both of these conditions can be neutralized by your opponent just switching out, this move's effect is not worth it. This is one of those moves that you never really want to use over just attacking or setting up in some other way. If you want to move faster, Colossal has better options that it would rather use that focus more on raising its own speed rather than lowering its opponent's speed. It gets Rock Polish, a move that raises its speed by 2 stages, and it gets Steam Engine, an ability that raises its speed by 6 stages when hit with a Fire or Water type move. For increased damage output with Fire moves, setting up the Sun with Sunny Day is a far more consistent option, as even though it has a weaker damage modifier, it will last for 5 turns and will affect all Pokemon, not just the ones that were already hit with a move like with Tar Shot. You could also not set up at all and just go for an attack, which will almost always be a better option than using Tar Shot. And those are Pokemon that don't tend to use their signature moves. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with any of my reasonings, or feel that I missed any. I was also thinking about doing this same video but with signature abilities, so let me know if that's something you'd like to see, or even if you have some suggestions for abilities I could include. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, the best way to do so is just by leaving a nice comment. I do genuinely read all comments, and will try my best to respond to as many as I can. You can also click the join button and become a member, and I made the cost as low as possible at 99 cents USD. Members get a badge next to their name and early video access, but other than that, I really don't have any other perks for members. Keep in mind that these videos will be releasing on my normal schedule for non-members, so don't feel obligated at all to join unless you really want to support me and you are financially capable of doing so. Huge thanks to all my members. I really appreciate your continued support for the channel. Likes are also one of the ways in which YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel this video deserves it, I would appreciate it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.